Hey guys, I'm Cynthia Waterman. We're coming back again. This is another spotlight, and we are very excited today to have Matt Yonkel with us. He is with Pythonic AI and really has quite an impressive resume. I don't want to steal any of your thunder, but I will say this state of the art academic approach to AI solutions for title technologies. And guys, I want you guys to keep listening because as we get a little bit deeper into this, we're going to touch a little bit on that hot trigger warning topic of TPS choices. So let's just jump in a little bit. Matt, tell us a little bit about why AI, what inspired you with Pythonic, and
Yeah, well, I mean, so like broadly speaking, we're headed to a future where software robots are going to be doing more and more kind of the white collar work. And so, in terms of building out Pythonic, the objective was I wanted to have a company where we were building some of those software robots, for lack of a better way of putting it. And in terms of why title and escrow, I've got some background there. I was on the board of Adaptive Software for 8 years up until the Qualia acquisition. Did some work with a company before that was doing work in the land record space. So it's an industry near and dear to my heart.
awesome. So, in terms of where we are in the title industry today, we have such a broad spectrum of opportunity mixed with the challenges of day to day. What would you say is the number one thing with regard to AI, if I'm evaluating that as a potential tool? Is that a revenue channel, something along those lines is going to help me with my revenue? Are we looking at metrics? Fill us in a little bit right there.
I think our clients, one of the big things that it helps them with is just turnaround time on files. So we offer a variety of individual services. So in terms of like where do you get started with AI and machine learning, you can look at various bits of your workflow and try to pick some pieces that are slow or painful, or where speeding up the process might help you with your client relations. So we offer services like automated file opening or order entry. We've heard that a pain point is, even when you're well staffed, orders can come in and it might take a while for somebody to get to it to open a file. Meanwhile, your client's waiting for that. And so having that faster turn time, I think is really helpful in terms of client satisfaction. Another one of our services deals with turnaround time on CDs and automated processing of CDs that you get from your lender clients. And so being able to turn those around faster, again, it helps with the client relationship. So you get the added speed, so reduce cost in that sense, but also just better relationships and more impressive turnaround times for your clients.
So if some title agents are already there, right? Some of us are very, very, very far into the technology. But more so, I think accuracy and risk are something that are just inherent in the title world. What's different about your solution that alleviates some of the concern for that risk? I think I saw something about that final 5% that's a difference maker for Pythonic.
Yeah, we internally, so with my team, we always talk about we have to care about the final 5%. There's a lot of technology out there that probably gets you 95% of the way. If you use some of the stuff from the bigger kind of off the shelf providers of OCR and those types of tools, yeah, you get like 95% of the way there. And you'll hear a lot of claims of, oh, we're 95% accurate or 97% accurate. And I think if you just look at that one metric, accuracy, I think that's a bit of a loaded term, because, well, what does that mean? You want to be 100% for your clients in most cases. And so if you're 95, how do you get to 100? Well, you got to look over 100% of the stuff to figure out where the mistakes were. And so our process that we always talk about precision, we actually give two metrics instead of one. So instead of just one measure of accuracy, we look at a metric called precision, which is, is the information that we're generating on an automated basis correct? But then we look at automation rate. And the automation rate we achieve is what percent of the work can we automate at a given level of precision? And so you can set the precision as high as you need it. Usually for us, it means as the accuracy or the precision, I should say, of a careful human right? Because you want somebody that's doing this work very carefully. You want to be able to replicate that level of precision. And then the question is, well, what amount of work can you automate at that level? And so that will vary depending on the task and the types of documents and the workflows. But if you're automating 50%, 70%, 80% of that work at that high level of precision, now you have the confidence that you can focus on the kind of remaining, what we call the exceptions, those cases that aren't automated, spend your time there.
So if I'm doing CD prep, certainly that 5% is expensive. So we want to be really careful about that. So that's good. But talk to me a little bit about this. What software platforms are you working with? What does that process look like for me if I'm using one of those platforms? How does that whole thing fit together?
Yeah, so we have integrations with Resware, and we're working on an integration with SoftPro for some of our services as well. So Resware and SoftPro, and we're open to other integrations, and we're exploring those as well. So I'm hopeful in the next 12 months we'll be able to announce a number of other integration partners as well. In terms of just the workflow, kind of how it works, we're very transactional. So we're not your system of record. What we want to do is just get the data from your documents into your system of record, into your title production system. So practically speaking, that means, in the case of CDs, when lender closing instructions hit your title production system, those get forwarded into your Pythonic account, your Pythonic service. We set up your own cloud account for each one of our clients. So it comes into your cloud account, your Pythonic cloud account. We process, we look at that document, pull out all the data, structure it, do all the comparisons to the fees and charges in your system, and write the appropriate fees and charges back into your system so that you've got the kind of the new state of things current in your TPS.
So I can think of a couple of our clients now that this would be highly regarded. They might be very interested in those opportunities. Tell me a little bit about what is the skill set to implement this? How do I manage this? Is this a Resware skill set or a SoftPro skill set on the admin side? How does this work?
Yeah, there's some admin and there's some setup. So if you're on the Resware side, you're going to want to set up some actions that forward the data for the documents to the Pythonic service, and those are pretty straightforward to set up. There's nothing too creative that you have to do from an action standpoint. And then we're using the API to get the data kind of back into your system. So we're using the Resware API. SoftPro, it's a 360 integration. So you'll see the services in the menu and kind of open it up and add the documents and click go, and it'll process and come back in the services queue.
Okay, so not overwhelming. I guess
no, there's I think
process,
so
right?
depending on the service, right? So there is the config up front, and when you're looking at CDs, we're concerned about your settlement types. So SoftPro, they're standard. Resware, they're very configurable, and so we're going to need to get exports of those because we want to be able to match up the lender charges with the correct Resware settlement types and MISMO types so that all the data kind of matches up and pairs up. So there's some work there. And then there's also your rule set. We have some basic rule sets, but that's, how are you comparing the data that's coming in from the lender? And so again, we've got some stuff that's off the shelf that will just kind of work, but you may be very granular in terms of which lender, is it the first CD or subsequent CDs that you're receiving in terms of what you want to do with the data. And so we can be also very granular in terms of those rule sets for you.
That was my next question, right? Because every single client wants something different, right? Stack order or right, their HUD or their CD looks a certain way. Yes. Okay, great. So looking forward, here's the hot topic. Let's say that I am using one of the softwares that you've mentioned that you're currently working with, either SoftPro or Resware, and I am evaluating my TPS. So I am putting everything on hold. What are your recommendations for those guys?
Yeah, from an automation standpoint, I think there's the question of, do you think you're going to automate these workflows and these services? And if the answer is yes, we're going to automate them at some point. So if you believe that, yes, the future is automation, then we're on the same page. At that point, unless you're switching systems is imminent, like in the next 3 or 4 months,
Okay.
I think I would make the pitch that you should make the workflow update. You should automate today to get the advantage of the automation
Mhm.
while you're evaluating, while you might be switching.
Mhm.
Because when you switch, then you're going to have the mindset of these new workflows. You're not going to switch and implement it the old way, just so that now in a few months, then after you switch and after doing all this, updates and trying to get your workflow set up, oh, and now we want to automate things. So you're going to be pushing out your automation way too far if you wait. And the way that we run our contracting and everything else is such that if you switch, the contract will switch. If we can't support, if you pick a TPS we don't support, then you can say you can opt out of the contract. So there's no contractual risk for implementing today. But you have a lot to gain by implementing today and establishing that new workflow on the system you're familiar with ahead of going to a new system and trying to do all the config.
Change is hard. And
Mhm.
as if I'm looking at that and I know that I'm going to be changing in 18 months or less, maybe, I guess you did say, I think I heard you say that if there's a software platform that I want to go to, I want to use your services, you would look at getting connected with that particular platform. Did I hear that correctly?
Okay, yeah, could totally. So when we look at implementing on different title production systems, we're always looking for that first user. We don't like to just implement on spec. So if you're going to switch to a system, if you're a client of ours, we want to support you, and so we together can reach out to that vendor and work out the arrangement to get that integration done.
So let's say that I mean, there's so many different categories, if I can even categorize it, of the people that we are talking to in the industry that are in this change evaluation process. Some may change, some may not. They may, and we have a survey coming out to help get that decision solid for them, because it is overwhelming to even consider any change at all, much less changing the entire heartbeat of your organization from one TPS to another. That's a huge, huge undertaking. And there are so many things to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the challenges that a select group may have is affordability, right? So
Mm-hmm.
right now they're on X platform. X platform is this price. They know they want to get to a lower price at another platform. And so that is their key and primary objective. However, what I think I hear you saying, if I'm reading between the lines, is the AI opportunity is going to further reduce your cost of operation per file. So add that into the equation as you're making your decision. Would I
Yeah,
be?
I mean, I didn't state it exactly that way, but
Okay.
certainly I think that's an important consideration. If you're able to automate certain workflows,
Mhm.
it's going to change your needs, right, in terms of what you need your title production system to do, and what features and items you might value within that. So again, it's if you're contemplating a change, I think it's helpful to kind of say, all right, and if you agree that we're going to be automating these things, you should look at what it looks like to automate them now, so that you don't switch and then see what the automation looks like, and then end up kind of regretting whatever decision that you made. So again, it's about having all the information. And if it's 18 months out, if it's 12 months out, you might as well take advantage of the lift that you get from an automation standpoint, like in a month, and then have that running for the next 11 to 17 months, even if you do decide to switch. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Reallocate those funds a little bit, huh? So, okay. Well, I know we're going to have you back for our upcoming panel. We're going to talk about SaaS versus hosted, prem and cloud, on-prem versus cloud, and all the different things to think about in there. And we're looking forward to your feedback on that. I know you are a very well-known and well-respected contributor to those types of discussions. So we're really thrilled to have you back soon on that. And you guys, if you're watching this video post-recording, you might want to check out for the channel to look for that video, because it'll be posted about the same time or close to the same time. And I think that that's going to be a hugely important discussion. But if I were looking at this today, regardless of where I am in my TPS evaluation, I think it's worth definitely checking out and looking at that metric and looking at the opportunity in front of them to see, can they reduce the cost profile? Can they get the lift from this in the short term? Well, how long does this take? It sounded not overwhelming if your admin knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah, we typically have we like a 2-month trial period. So it's a no risk trial period where it includes usually a couple of weeks of getting everything set up, and then about 6 weeks of just kind of running it, and we call it dialing in. So trial and dial it in. Because every system's a little bit different, and everybody's sets of documents are a little bit different, and so we give that 6 week time to kind of get really get it rolling. So that's about the time horizon you can look at. We can push and go faster, but we've usually seen that feels about right, and that gives you the appropriate time to kind of understand kind of how everything fits in, and then after that you're kind of off to the races. So it's not a heavy lift, and again we're kind of focusing on specific workflows: file opening, document splitting and classification, CD automation, document routing. So you can kind of pick and choose like which one, or which services to start with to make it easy and get you some early success.
Perfect. Well, I hope that our reservology clients will take a look at this as well. And I know that our team would be phenomenal at getting that lift and getting that implemented on the faster side of things, hopefully. So, and then also there's Quartz. I don't know if Quartz would be helpful in this. It's an automated document. We do instant documentation of everything in the flow, and it puts it into an external document. It sounds like Quartz could be a tool to add some lift to that implementation. Maybe not, but anytime you can get something out and see it on paper versus trying to figure it out inside the system, it seems helpful when you're doing something like this.
Yeah, certainly from an action, if you're talking Resware, and from an action standpoint, kind of understanding where things are going to fit in the workflow, Quartz, I think would be very, very helpful.
Hey, Matt, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want folks to know before they head on down the road here?
We'll have folks at Springboard. We'll have folks at Software Spug. We'll be at S3. So look us up. We'd love to meet you.
Awesome. Perfect. And how should they reach out to you? I have an email address of info@Pythonic.ai. Is that the best method?
I'm Matt at Pythonic.ai. So however folks want to reach out, that'd be fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been very helpful.
Thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hey guys, listen, our goal and our mission is to help you earn more, learn more, and share more. So please keep watching our Spotlight videos. This is entirely about getting information in your hands to empower you in 2023. Check us out next time, and we'll see you soon.